Good evening, fam. Was doing a little experimenting with adding ballast, laying track, adding ballast, because I want to practice before I actually start doing it for my modules and my layout. So I want to learn some techniques. So what I did is I created a 3 foot piece section off of 1x3 lumber. I laid down cork road bed, Midwest Products cork road bed, and then I laid down my Walther's Code 83 Flextrack. And I used the Pele Soborg method of spiking down the track. Every 9 ties, I used a micro engineering Code 83 spikes on the outside of the rails. But let me show you what I've done so far. I'm going to turn the camera around here. Okay, first thing I did, well, what I originally did is I bought Woodland Scenic ballast, and I was told that it's made out of walnut shells, and when you try to add the watered down glue and the wetting agent, it tends to float. So I was told to use Scenic Express number 40 ballast. So I bought some off a hobby link, bought a half-gallon of it, figured that'll last me a while. And it's made out of actual rock and aggregate. So that's the first thing I did this. Now let me show you what I did here. I bought 6 feet of 1x3. And what I did is I cut it to 3 feet, and then I glued down with Modge Podge the cork road bed. Okay, and then once that dried, I added the Code 83 Flextrack. And let me see if I can zoom in on some of the spikes. Well, let me put my glasses on because I can't see very well. Okay, if you see there's one of the spikes I drove in. I used this, and I actually sent a message to Pele Soborg, and I asked him, did you use bent needle nose pliers? And he said yes, and he talked about the spikes, and so I followed his advice. So, and by the way, I got that bent nose needle nose pliers at Harbor Freight for $3. So there's a spike, and then there's a spike, and again. Okay, so I did that all the way through every 9 ties, and I did it just on the outside, the way Pele recommended, just on the outside of the ties. And then I added, the Flextrack, like I said, and then I used my airbrush to paint it. I used this black-brown paint. And like I said, this is practicing, and I could see where a little bit here, my airbrushing was a little thin. In other places, it's fine, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it definitely taught me some techniques. It helped me to practice. So then I got to this part. So I did about 6 to 8 inch section of the track to practice adding ballast. And what I find is work on about 6 to 12 inch sections at a time, because you're going to be doing a lot of, I don't have my paintbrush, but I have a brush, and I kept constantly massaging the ballast and getting it off the ties the best I could. And that took quite a while, and I'm trying to get it to where it looks pretty even. So then, at first I tried the so-called wet water. I used a 50-50 mixture of 90% or 91% IPA and water, and I found that didn't work. The ballast tended to float. So I read somewhere where somebody was just actually using 91% IPA just by itself, and I did that, and it worked. So I did that, and then I mixed a mixture of 3 waters to 1 part of Modge Podge, the dull Modge Podge, and then mix that up, and then I just very carefully used a small pipette and just squirted it in, and then as it was kind of drying and getting a little more solidified, I took my brush, I don't have it right here, I took my brush and just kept forming this, and it was easier to form it as the glue started to solidify. And I did the same thing on the other side so I could have an even line, not all over the place with the ballast. So that's what I found, and it takes time. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you want to do really solid ballast, it's going to take some time, and you're going to want to do it in about maybe 6 to 8 to 12-inch sections, and just focus your time in on that one section so you can get everything right. Now, even when it dries, I'm still going to get some ballast on the ties. And what somebody recommended, and I read somewhere, is they bought a dental pick, and they can pick it off. So I'm going to look at, see if I can pick it off with my fingers, or if a dental pick will work. So that's the first part of my testing. The rest is to go down the rest of this track here and do the whole thing. And then I'm going to start practicing trying different weathering techniques for the ties to get it a little more realistic look with weathering powders, and I don't know, just watching YouTube videos and seeing what other people did. So that's what I worked on tonight. Talk to you guys later.